I guess let's start. I don't see Ihor here. Do we have updates regarding the withdrawal contract? Maybe Lion?
Hey all. Yeah, we're missing though Ihor and Adam. So I think the contract is in a semi-final state. All the key implementation is there. Adam should be taking a look, checking with him to see if what is the audit status at the moment. I spent a bit of time coming up with gas numbers so we can inform ourselves to pick up config parameters, and then just taking a look and trying to come up with a setup that's easy for Jorge to deploy. But I'm not sure if you guys have been able to do that. Besides that, that's it.
All right. Let's start with client team updates this time. Nethermind?
Yeah, guys, so we figured out the issues with our withdrawals DevNet just a few minutes ago. So it now works with a mock contract, which is a good news. And as a next step, we're going to take the bytecode tabline sent last week and check how it works. That's it.
Aragon?
We've implemented the withdrawals logic for Gnosis Chain, but haven't tested it yet because currently I can't work at the moment because of the carnival. So tomorrow it ends.
Right, I think we set a date. Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but good to know. Geth, I think Guillaume is here this time.
Yeah, right. So it's actually not just Geth. Last week I was also testing Prism. So it turns out at the same time they made a release with my changes. They also released the Capella and the Capella update. And when you do this, they need to they have a fork routine, like the decision routine, like where they decide which fork to look for. And there's a bug in there because if Capella hasn't been defined, which it has not in the mainnet config, at least the version I had, it will take in the Gnosis mainnet config, it will take the Ethereum mainnet config and say this block does not exist. So if you want to use Prism, you have to set a fake Capella config. I know you, Philip. You approached me about this, so I don't know if you actually tried. When I did use it, it worked, but I still need to figure out why it takes the mainnet config to begin with. But apart from that, it seemed to work. At least to me, it seemed to be functional. Regarding Geth, so I went back to trying to snap sync from Nethermind. That doesn't work. Nethermind hangs up. And so with Tanishq, we have been looking into performing some kind of manual snap sync. So he's exporting data, and I'm going to from Nethermind, and I'm going to import them directly into the database. So I've wrote the code, and I'm waiting for the database import. The database export, so that I can import it, and hopefully, that will solve this issue. That's where I'm at.
Okay, just a clarification question. So you try to sync Geth with a Nethermind node, I guess with the static peer or something, and this makes Nethermind hang up?
Yeah.
Okay. Could this be an issue for I don't know, if you connect to another Nethermind node, can you DOS it somehow or something like that? Or
can I DOS it?
Well, if trying to sync from a Nethermind node, your Get node with a Nethermind node makes Nethermind hang up.
I think you need the context a bit, because it's only for Snap server, which is not used at all on Nethermind nodes, but just for GM. So it's not like you can DDoS Nethermind real implementation.
Ah, okay, got it. Okay, yeah, for Prism, just as a comment, I approach you. I haven't had time to test it out, sadly. It's on my to-do list, but yeah, I've had a few things to do. So yeah, I think that's all good. Then for client teams, for the DevNet, I guess we kind of discussed it a bit already. Are there other updates? I guess there's the Nethermind testnet, which is going to change in the coming days, and Aragon is going to join it. What else? Okay, I guess no updates on the DevNet side then, other than the ones already given. All right, for Chain Infra Gateway, do you have updates?
So we continue on bridge validator using Ansible scripts and basically creating our own work still in progress. As we mentioned, the East Denver also takes some efforts and a lot of team members traveling there. Other than that, we already a bit updated the way how traffic is redirected from RPC, Gnosis RPC to our gateways RPC. But it should not be visible to end users, and it's already done, so we can better track RPS numbers on our site. That's it.
Awesome. Are there news on Beacon Chain side? I don't know if there's anyone from Beacon Chain here, actually. I guess that's a no. From the additional work streams, I guess there's no one here either. For tests, I don't know. We talked briefly about, well, asked if Nethermind or Aragon have some time, I guess, to implement some Hive tests for Gnosis. I don't know if you guys had time to discuss it internally.
Marek, are you online?
Sorry, I was muted. Okay, we've been discussing it internally, and we think that it won't be perfect for Gnosis Chain to have the same team responsible for both implementation, testing. I mean, the majority client implementation. Of course, we want to participate in testing, but we believe it would be bad for Gnosis in long term if we took full ownership of this test. So I'm not sure how we should resolve that, and if you agree with this point, but yeah, what do you think?
So I think that's sensible, but keeping in mind that there is no ownership now, and clearly you guys have the shortest path to contributing something valuable. If you guys have capacity, going for it now would be the best, and then we try to diversify in the same way that we are working hard on getting to client diversity. I agree on the argument, but realistically, you guys have the shorter path to having something that works.
Yeah, I hear you, Daplayan, and I can't imagine that we will do hard fork without single custom with the custom withdrawals implementation for Gnosis without a single end-to-end test that this is verifying it. So yeah, it's a bit a problem, and in terms of we have implementation, and it looks like the main blocker would be these tests. So we have to resolve that. Yeah, after our discussion, we don't want to take full ownership of that. But if there is need for help in short term, I don't know. I will do one more round with Daniel. What we can do here? Because
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just to be aware, who usually wrote or who takes the
Yeah.
majority of
Okay.
time
So-
writing on mainnet these tests? Like the
Yeah.
Hive?
So it was before it was Poa team, and for the merge it was Jorge, and it was super like no perfect because Jorge was responsible for both implementation and testing, and it would be good if more people will verify it.
I think the question was about mainnet Ethereum.
Mainnet.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
sorry. So it is dedicated people from Ethereum Foundation, Mario Viga, etc. A bit dedicated team.
Plus, there are contributions from client teams sometimes, but they are not majority.
Our role is mainly to give ideas for good tests, but not implementing them. That is how it is work for mainnet.
Yeah, so I'm thinking from the point of view of Gnosis core devs. Like we don't have anyone that has Go expertise to contribute to success tests. So if we were to hire someone full time, some code developer, I'm not sure we'll have enough workload like to fill a full time position.
This is a bit of a problem for Nethermind too. We don't really have that many Go developers, but
Like the core team, yeah.
We can
I don't know.
probably
We can
arrange
look into
something.
it. But yeah, I think if possible, I think you agree that the shortest path to having something is with your contribution, and then we will work hard on our end to try to diversify. Guillaume?
Yeah.
At least I understood your question to be: would there be enough time to would there be enough work with Hive to keep someone busy full time? For a short period of time, definitely. But I mean, I would. I don't get the impression. I mean, so Hive was started by the guest team, although indeed now it's mostly written. All tests are mostly written by Mario Vega and friends. I don't get. I can get more information, like more finer details, but I don't get the impression that he's spending most of his time writing tests for Hive. So yeah, I would say the answer is no.
But he spent full time on testing in general, in different way.
Yes. But okay, to be fair, they were also using kurtosis. I think not. I get the impression at least they want to move away from kurtosis, so maybe that will change. But from what I understand, he's at least spending half the time doing kurtosis tests and things. It's not just Hive.
I don't know. Maybe we can maybe for example someone from Erigon can help, and from Gev, because of course with our help as well. Not sure. What do you think?
So you mean like someone from Guess?
Someone from Gev is not good. Yeah, because it's only you. Sorry.
I mean, okay. I have not written a single Hive test in my life, but if you need help, I can definitely. I know where to find the information, and I can look into it. It should not be too difficult.
Okay.
Famous last words.
Yeah, but it will be definitely a bit blocker for Shanghai. It looks like, because we have implementation in Nethermind, implementation in Erigon will come soon, and we don't have single test.
I mean, I don't really mind if we can YOLO into DevNets and they work.
Yeah, DevNet for sure. Yeah, DevNet for sure. It's only problem for going to production.
Okay, let's take that offline. I'll have a look at Hive.
So in in your head, is the blocker do not have a Hive test to not actually do the 14 mainnet? Like if the devnets work, isn't that sufficient?
Well, what do you guys think about it if we don't have, because withdrawals are a bit custom, and probably we can write some scenarios dedicated for Gnosis. And how do you feel without having this test? I feel like
what
Yeah.
code paths we cannot trigger on a devnet that you need Hive to trigger?
can we trigger all this failing withdrawals and etc. easily on the devnets?
Yes.
Okay. The only thing is that if we introduce regression, but we can also okay, we can also like freeze the code, and that would be the way to go.
The advance of having this test that you can trigger them like recurringly, right? Without much hassle. So if any version has break something, it will be
Yes,
visible.
you will notice on your development branch, not when you I don't know, start devnet or something like that.
And what about gateway? Do you guys have any Go developers that could take on this?
Not that I know, but I can check with Igor.
Yeah, even if we don't want to have them for withdrawals, we should have them long term if we plan do custom features for Gnosis, like shutterized beacon chain and so on. So we need.
They are especially crucial for features that are consensus breaking, right? If the features are not consensus breaking, they are less crucial.
I agree.
All right. So what are concrete steps then? I guess Guillaume, you talked about taking this offline. Would it be with the Nethermind team and then kind of talk to make sure we get tests, or do we go the if devnets work, we're fine route?
Sorry, I didn't get the end of your question.
So is our goal now before going to mainnet, I guess, to get testing done with maybe you, maybe Nethermind, maybe some other people, or do we just assume that if it works in devnets, we are fine?
I mean, yeah, like I think that was Marek said. Hive is nice for regressions, but ultimately, devnets is where you acquire the confidence that your code works. So I would say, okay, yeah, like I said, we should sync up on that. Yeah, I wouldn't be super comfortable going into a release without proper tests, especially since we have some code that does not really match mainnet. Yeah, okay. I would say my feeling is no.
Yeah, I have a bit the same feeling.
Hive is not only for regressions, also for corner cases, right? So for example,
Yeah.
if you have a gas limit on the withdrawal transaction, right? What will happen if the gas is one over the limit, or what would happen if we have another like fairly edge case? Edge cases are very good to test on Hive. That might be triggerable on testnet, but it's hard to like do that correctly.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, yes, I would tend to test that on testnet, but okay, sure, we can definitely use Hive for that as well.
Yeah, I'm not saying you cannot test it, but it's harder, right?
And in theory, if you, for example, change something in code, you should repeat all the steps on the devnet, right? And if you have Hive, you have a bit more confidence about these things. Daplayan, what do you think?
I think, everyone agrees that we need Hive testing. I guess that the key question here is if we have to delay the fork for the absence of Hive testing. I would let HR know that we want ideally to find a Go person. If we don't have anyone in our existing teams that can take on this, we can look outside. But I'm not sure how long that's going to take to hire someone and get someone up to speed. So that's why I was pushing. If I understand, and getting this test here would be great, but would that be a blocker such that to delay the fork? And if that is the case, then we should really try to get someone that we already have to look into this. I mean, I would try to do it myself. I've not written Go, but I can give it a try. But yeah, how big is it a blocker? And if it's a huge blocker, then let's try to find a solution that's not crazy on timelines.
The alternative solution are Hive post-data tests, but I know nothing about them. So even they are written in what language? Someone knows?
JS.
JS. Jorge, what do you think about post-DAO tests in general as the way to test withdrawals?
Yeah, they could work. To be honest, I wouldn't like to have to look into post-DAO tests ever again, and I wouldn't. Yeah, so I wouldn't suggest anyone to look at like the tests are very the code is very complex to like understand at first. At least it was for me. So yeah, I don't recommend post-DAO tests. I haven't looked into Hive either, right? So I don't know. I don't have like to make a comparison. So in terms of is it possible to test withdrawals with post-DAO tests? Then yes, answer is yes. But is it something that we want to do? I would say no. Unless there is someone with like super like experience with JavaScript and all of that, and can go into it and understand it like right away.
Okay, well, then I'm not exactly sure what the next step is. I guess everyone agrees that we need tests to go to mainnet. So I guess we need to find someone who can work on it. Maybe partly Nethermind and Guillaume or someone else, I guess. Or find someone new, as Dan mentioned.
Yeah, I would say next steps. Nethermind, please reconsider if there is anyone that could take at least partial ownership. Same from Gateway. And then Guillaume and I can check offline what can we do, what's our capacity on the meantime. Also, Gnosis hiring, I think getting a Go person would be good, so that Guillaume can focus on Geth and not have to take these peripheral tasks like Prism and other stuff.
I think potentially there we can also talk to the Aragon team if someone can help. They have a pretty, as far as I know, they have quite a few developers being very familiar with Go.
Yeah, we brought it up last time and it was a negative from them. We can bring it up again. As far as I'm concerned, it's a small team, right? So I think everyone is pretty much core. I'm not sure how much they have ramped up in headcount.
Yeah, I can bring it up with that XA. Let's see.
Awesome. Is there something else regarding updates? I think Andrew is in the call. Yeah, from Aragon, Andrew. Maybe you have insight on available time for tests.
Well, I think our core team is rather small, and again, I can ask, but I don't think we have any free developers who can work on tests, on Hive tests.
Do you have anyone new, or are you like having someone that's not core that could take on this, as this is not such a complex issue?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I think we shouldn't wait extra weeks, so we will talk internally about it, and we will let you know on Telegram or something like that just after we discuss it. Because extra week will delay test efforts, so we can't wait more time.
Cool, thank you. Got it. One extra topic, I guess we are at the end of updates. So we have discussed it in the past, and Philip brought it up again. So in the beacon chain, we have the entity of the mGNO token, which the sole purpose it has is to allow to stake one GNO per validator. The beacon chain mechanics force a validator to have 32 ETH, and that is a non-customizable parameter. So POA, on the early days, they created this token, which you just send GNO, you wrap, and then you get 32 mGNO, so that the value of the validator is relatively low. I have not seen any usage of these mGNO, so there is the question of how should the UX be for this token. The current deposit withdraw contract, as it is designed, it will unwrap by default. And what Philip brought it up is that we can even wrap by default, or even not wrap at all. The only thing that the beacon chain is concerned about is this contract emitting an event with a correct amount. So you don't really need to wrap. You can just take whatever token and then emit an event with a correct multiplier, and that will just work as well. So I guess the question I have, that's not that much for developers, but your input is also valuable. But what is the role of mGNO here? If we stop using it completely and we just take GNO in the deposit contract and then emit a multiplier on the event, would that be okay? What are the consequences? Anyone has any strong opinion on that regard? Otherwise, if we have to take a decision like this, what are the key stakeholders that have a say here? Or in other words, who would care about mGNO being used in a way or not?
Okay, so I think are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so mGNO may be used by the Gnosis builders team as well as Karpaki for giving out validator incentives. So for example, right now, when they want to give GNO that can only be used for validators, they only send mGNO, and then they've actually built this tool for them to deposit, because that mGNO can only be used for staking. But again, it's not a very huge usage and they just started. It can always be unwound if we don't want to do it.
So the unwrap capabilities of mGNO will have to be added now. If that is planning to be used, I guess the unwrap functionality could be restricted exclusively to the contract, but I don't know, it still feels awkward. Like if you want to do something like that, you can use a strategy like Lido or Rocket Pool, where you can whitelist certain people, and then whenever they submit the deposit, you provide the value, and you achieve the same effect, where you only say give that capital to someone through a deposit on the staking contract, but that cannot be used in any other way, and you don't really need to use MGNO for that purpose.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't concern too many people here, but removing MGNO would also make it a bit more gas efficient, I guess, because there is no, well, wrapping, unwrapping, and all those things. So yeah, I think it would be very nice, but I don't know who should take this decision.
I mean, my idea was we can do a forum post in the Gnosis DAO and see who comments. Doesn't have that much activity, but we can go that way. Also a Twitter poll or something, I don't know.
Would be like well, maybe Daniel, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we know the parties that are currently using MGNO. Should be able to reach out to them directly. I would say we would appreciate is just like one recommendation from you guys, and then of course there has to be sign off. I think Martin has been more involved in this discussion, and we should also. I still think like a forum post is just, I would say it's a good practice. I would not expect like necessarily more insights, but it's still a good practice, I guess, to inform the community about the step. But I think internally, yeah, it would be great if you guys come up with a recommendation of what should be done, and then we can have one meeting where we decide.
I mean, I think we should not have to completely deprecate MGNO. MGNO could exist and represent the value, just that the happy path, or there is a path that you can take to go around MGNO if you so please to. But I don't see any to completely deprecate MGNO and make the token unusable. But I agree. I think that this is a good next step. Could you add the ngno.validate gnosis.com to the notes too, just for persistence? And asking to you, Stefan, are these the two usage of NGNO, or are we missing any other that we should collect?
So
I think that's
you don't see a reason. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the usage of MGNO is really that we decide, and then everybody else in the ecosystem will align with it. I really would not take. I would actually just put it on us to make the recommendation. Everything else is mutable.
So, Lion, do you see a reason to keep it? I mean, maybe we don't need to get rid of it, but why would we keep it, basically?
I guess it's good practice in blockchains. Like, if you don't have to kill something, just leave it there. And I mean, you don't, like, this is permissionless, so you don't know if someone did something with it. So you want to provide the escape patch for them.
Right, thank you. All right. Well, I think that concludes this call. If no one else has questions or comments.
I mean, I think after a couple of calls, maybe we should start committing at least not to a full date for the fork or stuff, but at least for devnets, because I think we're starting to move a bit slower. So I guess at least for the ones more involved, Nethermine, can we commit to say I guess the next step is to have a DevNet with the actual contract.
Yeah, we're gonna
let's
try
commit on
today.
Sunday to do that.
We're gonna try today.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, if everything keeps working the way it is, I will say this week for sure we'll have to definitely.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah, I think Erigon mentioned that they were out this week, so we can figure out a setup with the actual contract. Let's test a few cases, make sure we understand how to do that, and then next week we can bring the next client, and if all goes well, we can plan for Chiado.
I think Aragon was only out until today, right? And can start tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I can resume work tomorrow because the carnival ends today.
Awesome. Jorge, go ahead.
Yeah, so regarding the DevNet, so how are we going to like split validator keys and all of that? Because having all the validator keys on our side, like on Netherlands side, and being running all of them in our infrastructure is, in my opinion, a bad idea. Like if we have had issues in the past where restarts of the whole networks because we just run some Ansible playbook or something like that have caused issues. On top of that, I think for everyone to be able to test something, everyone should have access to validator keys. So we could decide like how to split and how many validators do we want for this real DevNet.
I think we can do like in the past where we did 1/3 you, 1/3 Gnosis, 1/3 gateway.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How many
I
validators?
know we.
This is important. 1,000. I mean 1,000-ish.
1,000. Yeah, I think either between 1,000 and 10,000 is a good number. It's rather smallish. It doesn't really.
Okay.
I think on these numbers, it doesn't really matter that much.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
Should we not get some keys to Aragon as well? Or would we? Well, I guess we would be running those for them, right?
Yeah, I guess. So coordinating with a bunch of entities, it's good, as Jorge says, to make sure one party doesn't kill the network, but it's also annoying. Like we screw it up so much in the past. Like even with 3 parties, it was kind of hard to coordinate.
Mm-hmm.
And just keep in mind, many of the tests that the Ethereum Foundation does, it's just on their own. They just run all the infrastructure, and then if there is any issue, like the relevant parties have access. So actually, only one person doing everything is actually pretty nice, because the chance of screwing up is much smaller. And yeah, you remember how many failed Genesis we had, even between the 3 of us.
Yeah, we plan to keep doing like shadow forks on our own and there's some DevNets on our own. But if it were going to have like one short testnet, this could be it. Sure.
Yeah, so I think we could aim to do one early next week.
Okay. Okay, great.
Awesome. So I guess Nevermind would then generate keys and I guess include them in the Genesis and then give them to the other teams, right?
Yeah.
Good. All right. Well, is there something else?
Just to clarify, is it validators on DevNet, on Chiado, on like, because the notes are about DevNet validators, or is this
Yeah,
the case?
definitely. Yeah, some DevNet that we're
DevNet,
planning to
okay.
launch. Yeah.
So if you can ping on Slack with the details about it, would be great. Like when we can expect the keys and what to be run.
I can share them on the Telegram group.
Yeah,
once
also
we
fine.
have-
Yes,
Okay. Okay.
thank you.
Awesome. Well, I guess we're done then for this week. Yeah, if no one else has something to say, then see you next week, guys.
Yeah, see you next week. Have a great time.
Bye.
Bye.
Right.
I don't.
Bye.
Bye.